to the midweek menu. I'm Denise Barratt, registered dietitian with Vine Nutrition. And today we're going to celebrate fall and make a seasonal menu idea that you can use for a tailgate party that might be coming up, a fall picnic, or just a real quick make-ahead supper idea. So we're going to feature some sweet potato and chipotle tempeh sliders, and we're going to make a colorful fall broccoli carrot salad, and last but not least, we're going to have some fresh apple donuts that are baked, that I'll tell you how to make all of them, and you can access all the recipes by clicking on seasonal recipes and menu ideas at vinerightnutrition.com. So first we're going to make the sliders, and I'm going to show you actually how they look so you can see what they'll look like and how cute they are. And in addition, they're delicious and easy to make too. So I'm just going to show you, if you've never made sweet potato toast, I'm just going to show you a little bit about how to make it. So first, you just cut the sweet potato, and I'm using a small one because I've already used the bigger ones to make the actual things, and I just want to show you how to make the toast. So you just cut off the ends, and then you cut them into little rounds. And then you would actually brush them with oil on both sides and put them on your cookie sheet. And you're going to bake them at 300 degrees. And with my oven, it took about 10 minutes on the first side. Then I flipped them over, and then another 5 minutes. But depending on your oven, it may vary a little bit. So that's how you make the toast, and then you can just let it cool. Let it cool all the way before you store it, because it will get weepy. And what you could do is right before you make them, you could crisp them up again for just a few minutes in your oven. And if you can, heat everything ahead of time and put it in a temperature container, you know, that will keep things hot, and then that way it will be hot for your event. But you can also eat them at room temperature. They are very delicious at room temperature. So the next thing I want to show you is a block of tempeh. If you aren't familiar with tempeh, it is a great source of protein that you can add to have a more plant-based meal plan. And it's something that we eat about once a week. It's very delicious. So I'm going to show you how to make the triangles like I had made. So I'm going to cut the piece into 4, and then I'm cutting them in half like this. And then after that, you would actually cut in little triangles. So we aren't going to make all of this right now just because we have so much that we're making right now for our entire menu, but you would actually brush both sides of these with olive oil too. And some people might be wondering, what is tempeh? Well, tempeh is actually soybeans that have had the skins, the sort of outside skins removed, and then it is fermented. So it's actually a fermented food. And if you look at this, I'm going to show you this. If you look at this, it's actually the beans, and it has had a mushroom spore added to it, and it is fermented and when it ferments, it makes threads that make the cake. So it's really a healthy plant-based protein alternative. So I'm just gonna put these on the cookie sheet right now. We aren't gonna bake them right now, but for the tempeh, with it being brushed with oil, you would actually cook it approximately 5 minutes on the first side and then 5 minutes on the second side. And you can actually bake it at the same time you bake the sweet potato toast at 300 degrees, which makes it really nice. So while it's baking, I want to tell you what you could make ahead of time to add to it. And it is an uncooked barbecue sauce. It's a chipotle sauce, and I made it in the blender. And my inspiration came from a website at Real Food RDs. And it's a wonderful way to make it without making it on the stove. And they use dates instead of like molasses or brown sugar to sweeten theirs. So I tried the dates in my recipe and it works out wonderfully. It has the sweet caramely taste to it, and it's 100% fruit that you've added to it. My recipe has chipotle, red wine vinegar, and it has seedy brown mustard because I love seedy brown mustard in things like sloppy joes and barbecue sauce. But one thing you will not want to add to the food processor ahead of time is the seedy mustard, because if you do, the seeds will all break up, but they won't be smooth and they'll be very gritty. So you want to add that at the end. So make the sauce ahead of time, and then when your tempeh and your sweet potatoes are ready to come out, your tempeh will be cooked on both sides, which this is not a good example, but actually this is a good example because this has been roasted. I added the sauce to one side, put it back in the oven, let it set for just 2 or 3 minutes, flipped it over, doused it with sauce again, and let it bake for another 2 to 3 minutes. And this is what it looks like. So it really can give the appearance and the texture of meat. And the fact that you're using a barbecue sauce, it really can be appealing to not only plant-based eaters and open-minded eaters that will flex to eat vegetarian, plant-based foods or meat-based foods like the omnivores. You might even have some carnivores that love it too. Or you can make some out of roast beef. So you can have some sliders made with roast beef and some made with tempeh. So let me show you how we put it together. So I've got my roasted sweet potato toast. I put a couple triangles of the tempeh on there. And then you can add a little bit of sauce to it if you want. And then top it with another sweet potato toast. Secure it with a toothpick. And I'm going to add it right here. And so you have a gluten-free, you have a sweet potato toast that is a little bit different than just using the buns. And it really is delicious. So I hope that you give it a try. I'm going to be switching gears because what I'd like for you to do, if you're going to make this entire menu, is I would like for you to up the heat to 350 in your oven to make the donuts. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to make them. I actually made them ahead of time because we're making so many things, but I'm going to tell you some little details about them, and I'm going to give you the guidelines. You're going to need a 6 donut pan. unless you double the recipe, and then you can get a bigger one or get 2 pans. And depending on your crowd, you may need 12 or you may need more. And these can be made ahead of time. You can make them gluten-free, or you can make them with your regular flour. I made these gluten-free. They're also low FODMAP. And this is Bob's Red Mill. And it is their gluten-free 1-to-1 baking flour. So you can actually use this in a lot of recipes if you want to change it up to be gluten-free or low FODMAP, or you don't have to. And you don't have to do it unless you know somebody that's trying to follow the low FODMAP meal plan, or you know somebody who has celiac disease or who is sensitive to gluten. Otherwise, you can make it with the other flour if you want to. It will be best if you have a baking rack too, because I bake these in about 15 minutes and then I let them cool on the rack. So I peeled my apples and I cored them and I grated them. And so these donuts have fresh grated apples, just a little bit of maple syrup in them. And instead of a real egg, which you could use a real egg, I used a combination of ground flax and water. And they turned out just great without the egg. So if you have somebody that is allergic to eggs or that is egg-free, that's a way you could do it. But you can add the eggs too. So I wanted to show you how the donuts look at the end. And I decorated them ahead of time. And what I did was I made a powdered sugar glaze. And it's just mostly powdered sugar, just a pinch of maple syrup in there to give it that mapley flavor, and some water. And then after that, I used some toasted coconut and toasted pecans. And I just wanted to let you know, and I was debating on this, but I was actually going to decorate one and glaze it for you. But when I got up this morning, even though it was wrapped in tin foil, it was missing. So I guess somebody gave it a try, even without the glaze and the toppings. But the directions on how to make it will be on the seasonal recipes and menu ideas if you click on that. So we've got the donuts ready now. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you how to make a colorful fall salad. So let me move these ingredients a little bit. So I took the fact that the donut was gone as a compliment, and nobody said a word to me about maybe missing one, and the fact that some had the decorations on them and some did not. I guess it was somebody's little secret. So I'm getting ahead and trying to make the dressing, but let's make the salad first. And it's really easy. And it can be made ahead of time. So if you want to have something ready for supper, you can have all of this really made ahead of time. The sliders would be great. You could just put them in the oven, let them heat a little bit. This broccoli salad could be made ahead of time. And the donuts, of course, could be made ahead of time. So, got some chopped broccoli here. Carrots. I just julienne those. Some cut up green onion. And I did white rice, but you could definitely do brown rice. And then, to add some texture and crunch, I have some cranberries and some toasted pecans. And so you'll just toss this together. So you've got some red, you've got some green, you've got some orange going on, and it's just absolutely beautiful in terms of color. And so it's going to need a little bit of dressing, so we'll make the dressing. In a cruet, I've added some olive oil. I'm going to add some pepper just to the salad. I could add it to the cruet, but I'm just adding it in there just so I can sort of control how much is in there. I'm going to add orange juice to my olive oil. Let me move the salad for a second so you can see this a little bit better. I'm adding just a little bit of red wine vinegar. The orange juice gives it a little bit of sourness, but not as much sourness and sweet. I want more of a sweet and sour taste, not just sweet for this salad. And I'm adding a little bit of salt here. And a little bit of thyme. I was debating on what seasoning would be a great fall seasoning. And I felt that the thyme would really go with the broccoli and the carrots and things. So we're just going to shake it up a little bit. And then we're going to add it to the salad. Mix it up a little bit. You can add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to it, or you don't have to, but as you can see, it is colorful and it is beautiful. And I realized I love the wood to carry on a picnic or carry to the tailgate party. And it would be something that would be really pretty, but something that would not break. So I realized through all of this, I have my little platter that I got from Asheville Goods that my friend Celia owns. And it's got a little bead on it, and it's so cute. So I got this platter, but I need to get a platter for my donuts, a little wooden platter. So if you know someplace where you know of some that you love, just let me know. So we've got dessert, we've got our apple donuts, we've got our little entree with our sliders, and we have our colorful fall salad. So we've got a variety of colors, we've got some texture going on, and we have lots of different flavors and even a little nutrition added to it. So I hope you check out the recipes and let me know if you make them, and let me know some of your fall favorites that you like to have for parties and picnics and some of the things that your family enjoys. And thank you for cooking with me, and I hope you have a wonderful fall. Thanks.